I'm Steve Levins from the State of Hawaii Office of Consumer Protection. I'm the Executive Director. And today I'm going to be talking to you about identity theft and data breaches, how you can deal with it, how it affects your life, and how to combat identity theft. First thing I'd like to talk about is an overview. What's a data breach? How do you know when your information has been taken? What do you do? And with ID theft, how you can protect yourself. Data breaches happen in a lot of different ways. Mostly they occur when businesses and government agencies allow them to happen by not having sufficient safeguards on your personal information. When this happens, the bad guys will infiltrate either a government website or a government database or a business database and get all of that information and try to use it for a bad purpose. So the bad purpose generally is identity theft. And identity theft occurs when someone uses your personal information, such as your name, your social security number, be your date of birth, credit card number, or other identifying information associated with you without your permission to commit fraud or other crimes. Like we're saying, the information can be your name, it could be your address, your date of birth, it could be a credit card number, your debit card number, your bank account number, your social security number, your medical insurance account number. And when they get this information, what do they do with it? They generally do bad things with it. They'll buy things with your credit card, and they'll get new credit cards in your name. They'll open up a phone account or utility accounts. They'll steal your tax refund. They'll do this by filing a tax return with all your personal information on it, and they'll have it sent to another location. They will use your personal information to get free medical care for them. You'll find out about it later on when you get a bill from the hospital or medical provider that you never went to, that someone stole your identity and used your good name to get medical care. And one of the worst things can happen is a criminal will do something that will get them arrested, and they'll tell the police that they are you instead of who their true identity is. And all of a sudden, you have a record that you had nothing to do with, a criminal record. There are various ways that you can determine whether you've been victimized. A lot of things you can't do, you don't have any control over, but there are things you can have control over. And that is, you got to read your bills, watch for your account statement. If your account statement hasn't been received, for instance, in the mail, someone may have taken it from your mailbox, so you need to check your mail all the time. Get your credit report. Your credit report has a wealth of information that will tell you whether someone has been monkeying around with your identity, or have been taking credit out in your name or someone else, or your child. You could get your child's credit report. You need to look at the credit report if you have suspicions. One of the ways you can get the credit report, the easiest way, is there's a website that was set up by the federal government. It's called annualcreditreport.com. Just go to this website and you can get a free credit report. It doesn't cost you a penny. There are other sites out there, commercial entities, that say they're free and they're not really free. The only one that's truly free is this annualcreditreport.com. If you don't have access to a computer, you can do it toll free, 877-322-8228. You either call the number, the toll-free number, go to the website, follow the instructions, and you can get one free credit report from each of the major credit reporting agencies per year. So what that means is, in effect, you can get 3 free credit reports a year. You can do that every 4 months, and you get the whole year covered. When you get your credit report, what you should do, or you look at it, make sure that the report has the right information. It has the credit report has unbelievable comprehensive information about your life. It have every account that you've taken out, every loan that you've had. If someone has made an inquiry, it'll have that information. So you need to go through it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that all the information in your credit report is accurate, all the accounts are accurate, all of the postings are accurate, that all the loans that it says you have taken out are accurate. And if there's any inaccurate information, you need to do something about it. You also should look at the inquiry section of your credit report, because anytime someone applies for credit in your name, if you apply for credit in your name, the creditor will run an inquiry to make sure that you're creditworthy. Well, if you look at the credit report and someone has made an inquiry and you don't recognize the creditor, you should be suspicious and find out what that's about. Because if someone has stolen your identity, what they're going to try to do is take out a bunch of credit cards in your name. If you see any of this information, you need to act on it. You can, like I said, you can do certain things to lower your risk from being a victim of identity theft. So there are things you can do at home, online, or at a business. And some of them are fairly obvious, like keep your financial records secure, Social Security card secure. You shouldn't be walking around with your Social Security number. If you do and your wallet is stolen, then the bad guy has your Social Security card. Keep your health insurance information in a safe place. There are people who steal your identity, who try to use your health insurance information for their own purposes. Some other obvious things: if you have highly confidential information and you don't need it at home, shred it. Shredders are fairly inexpensive. Take mail out of your mailbox all the time. Don't leave it there, because unfortunately there are people who go up and down neighborhoods and they'll try to steal your mail, and they'll use it for bad purposes. The information contained in it, bills, credit card statements, things like that. When you shop in a store, there are certain things you can do to protect yourself. Watch your wallet or purse. I mean, that's an obvious thing. Be careful when you know how you use your credit card or your debit card. Don't be saying it orally to a clerk what your credit card number is or your debit card number. There could be a bad person next to you listening. And don't tell anyone your PIN. Your PIN is like giving your key to your home to a criminal. Guard your PIN, because if a bad person has your PIN, they'll go to an ATM and they'll drain your account. When you shop online, there are obvious things you can do. Don't use obvious passwords. Don't use passwords that say password. Don't use passwords that say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Use passwords with upper or lowercase, with symbols, with numbers. Mix them up and change your passwords periodically. It's unbelievable the number of people that don't change their passwords and actually use the word password. Criminals know this, and they may just go into a site that they know you use and they may have your name, they'll have your address, and they'll just start inputting password stuff, obvious passwords, and a lot of times they'll hit on that. Don't respond to email messages that asking for personal information, because invariably it's going to be a scam. Even if you get an email message purportedly from your bank or financial institution saying they need to update your records, it's going to be a scam. If you really want to make sure that it's who they say it is, call them yourself. And don't use the number that they've provided. Use the telephone number that you can look up yourself in the yellow pages, or the white pages, or online, and call the bank and find out, or the financial institution, and say, are you really asking for this kind of information? Don't put your personal information or input your personal information in a computer that's in a public place, whether it's a coffee shop that offers free Wi-Fi or the library that offers free computers. You are basically allowing third parties to access your personal information. Don't ever input any kind of confidential information in these type of forums. And shop on secure websites. There's a way of figuring out whether a website is secure or not. It has a little lock. If someone asks you for a Social Security number, don't just freely give it to someone. Most people who ask, or most businesses that ask for a Social Security number, really have no business asking for it, have no need to ask for it. Ask them why they need it. There's no legally obligated reason you have to give it to them unless they're your employer. If you don't want to give it to them and they say they want it from you, then just walk away. Ask them if they need another kind of identification. And don't ever give your personal information to someone who calls you on the phone when you don't know who they are. It's like opening up your door and just talking to a stranger and giving them everything you know about your life. You just don't do things like that. When businesses and government agencies have been breached by what are concerned or identity thieves, email, it could be a telephone call, or the company can set up a website. If you are victimized, what you need to do is contact everyone when you look at your credit report to make sure that, and let them know that you are not the person. So you should close your accounts, your open accounts. If there are new accounts that were opened on your behalf, you need to contact the credit. Thank you very much.